Welcome back to the All Out Fighting YouTube channel. We're here at the impressive London Guildhall. We just watched the final press conferences ahead of Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois. I'm Ned Keating, again joined by Martin Domin. Martin, plenty to talk about here. The face-off as well is something that we'll come on to a little bit later. Maybe what I'll get you to do is maybe kind of, score it like you were a judge in a boxing fight here as we go through. Has anyone got any early spars in, any shots in early on? What did you make of the press conference tonight?
I know you want me to be excited, you want me to give you detail and to score it as you said, but as we had with the workouts yesterday, both fighters giving very little away. I'll tell you what I will do. I will score Daniel Dubois, the winner, for dress down. It's a fantastic suit. He dressed the part, as did Frank Warden. Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn going for the more relaxed look, especially Anthony Joshua in his tracksuit. So I'll give you that much. But Daniel Dubois, from the offset, was very, very reluctant to answer questions at all. Host Adi Oladipo, very, very determined to get something out of him, but struggled. Daniel Dubois did have to clarify that he has not sacked his trainer, Don Charles. At least, I think he said. He wasn't particularly forthcoming, even with that. Rumours have been swirling all week. He has indeed done that 2 days before the biggest fight of his life. He said not. He will be in his corner on the weekend. He just got a cold. Anthony Joshua, similar soundbites. He's ready, he's relaxed, he's going to finish his preparations, but very little to take from both the press conference and the face-off.
One thing I will notice though in the room was that Anthony Joshua seemed to get more of the laughs. There were a couple of moments where there was a few giggles drawn. They did kind of seem to be at the expense of Daniel Dubois, perhaps his understanding of certain things that were being said in the room as well. What were your take on those moments? I
think Daniel's always been quiet. And you've got to compare the two of them and how they came into the sport. If you think about it, Anthony Joshua through the GB team, through the Olympics, Olympic champion, the pressures that brought, the media that brought, the exposure that brought, the sponsorship. He speaks very well. Daniel Dubois, very different. Came into pro game very young, didn't have that Olympic experience, and it's just never really been a talker. The one with that, of course, is just how different fighters are, and it's natural to expect Anthony Joshua to just be a bit more comfortable. He's done this so many times as well. Be more comfortable behind the mic and in front of the cameras. And yet, Daniel Dubois just does not care about trash talk, about exchanging jabs, verbally at least, and he doesn't care if he makes you laugh.
With Anthony Joshua, you said there again, and sorry to keep focusing on him, I feel sorry for Daniel Dubois, it kind of does feel like that Anthony Joshua kind of gave more to talk about. You said there about the experience and kind of, been here before, been here at Wembley before as well, plenty of nights, Eddie Hearn mentioned it in there. I think it's come up to his fourth, isn't it? The undercard on Groves and then 2 headlines there. But again, this is another new thing for Daniel Dubois, aside from perhaps the fight against Joe Joyce, and that was a completely strange time as well, as we well know, because it was happening during COVID. But for him, it's another thing just to be up there really, with not be on the undercard, be that main event in a press conference, and it's those moments where he's almost kind of ticking it off, whereas Anthony Joshua has that experience, been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and pretty much wore the t-shirt tonight as well, as you said.
Yeah, he's very new for Daniel, and everything this week has been new. He did fight Alexander Usyk last year in Poland, but I wasn't there, but I'm going to suggest it wasn't quite as big. It was a stadium fight, but not quite as big as Wembley. It wasn't in London, it wasn't his home crowd, and it wasn't Anthony Joshua. And of course, Daniel is going to say that nothing this week has fazed him, that nothing has been different about his preparation, and that nothing will be different on Saturday night. But if you haven't done something, you can visualise as much as you like, but to walk out in front of 96,000 fans, most of them probably want you to get beat, maybe most of them want you to get knocked out. You wouldn't blame him if on Saturday night it's a little bit different, he's a little bit nervous, and it maybe does take him a little while just to get into it.
Anthony Joshua again, and Daniel Dubois, for his credit as well, you said there that host Ali Oladipo tried to get as much as he could out of Daniel Dubois, and when he was asked about prediction, he didn't want to predict anything. Joshua, on the other hand, comes out and says there's 3 ways, wasn't it? Or at least many ways, several ways he suggested that this fight could end. But is there really only one? Is it still, whoever strikes hardest first? Is that the one that's going to, and I'm not saying that it's just one punching out, but, it kind of feels like these 2 guys, it is big hitting power is what they have as one of their big strengths.
Yeah, it's very difficult to think the judges will ever get involved in this fight. I cannot see it going 12 rounds. I can't visualise it going 12 rounds because I can't think what's going to happen for 12 rounds for it to go the distance.
Yeah, only one for us as well.
that's it. Somebody will connect. It might be a slow start. I wouldn't rule that out. Again, if Daniel Dubois does take a bit of time to get adjusted to the occasion, he might start slowly. I can't imagine Joshua's going to go straight in there and barley and try and knock him out in the opening seconds. He's more seasoned and professional than that. So yes, it may be a couple of rounds to feel it out, but at some point one of them is going to connect in a way that changes the course of the fight. And I think once that happens, and I expect it to be anti-Joshua, if it does that, I think he will just finish the job. It may not be a clean one-punch knockout on the canvas, medics in. It may well be, and I think it will be, a sort of sustained attack, and ultimately the referee jumps in, fights over.
The face-off today we saw as well. Can we read anything into it? Two guys that stared each other down. Again, it was noticeable that Daniel Dubois is shorter than Anthony Joshua. He has that kind of definitely the height over him and probably the reach as well by that count. But they didn't break it, they didn't do anything silly, there was no shoving, it kind of, just stared into each other's eyes really, which, I don't know, we might get a different one at the weigh-in Friday, but for this one it seemed, two guys that are kind of focused on the job at this point.
Yeah, I think the reality is most face-offs are boring. We think of the best ones, the good ones, especially at the heavyweights, when tables are thrown, so people are shoved and security get involved, because we remember them, but more often than not, nothing happens. We saw 5 undercard fights, and the best we got was a long, long stare down between Joshua Dubois and Ray Hutchinson. And, Joshua and Dubois never, for something to happen, something has to be said realistically. And neither man is going to say anything that would spark the other man into sort of physical altercation.
Just on the undercard as well, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it was a fascinating exchange, I thought, between Josh Kelly and late change opponent Ishmael Davis as well. And the host of that one was Defsani, and he was saying that he'd only asked one question, but the two of them were just trading blows for about 5 minutes straight, talking over each other as well. For anyone who thought that this might be perhaps a one-sided fight, for Josh Kelly to get that late change opponent, Ishmael taking the fight on 6 days' notice, well, it kind of set the tone and hopefully whet the appetite for what could be a thrilling clash on Saturday on the undercard.
It was an excellent exchange, we talked about Daniel and Anthony not really saying very much and having to be forced out of them. These two, as you said, just went at it and everyone just sort of sat back and let them. Of course, Liam Smith's supposed to be fighting Josh Kelly, but Ishmael Davis come in late, full of confidence. That's one thing you can say. And we're so used to in boxing late replacements being substandard, really, if we're being honest. But he's managed to get in a good replacement. I think Ishmael made the point that both of their best win is against Troy Williamson. So, a good quality fight as a replacement, but actually only 5 fights on the undercard, but 5 very good fights. 5 fights, maybe not 50-50 fights, but 5 fights in which any result in any of them might not surprise.
Of course, and Martin, thank you again for your time, we do appreciate it. And of course, you can keep up to date with all the latest ahead of Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois across all of the nearest websites and the social media. Well, for now.